Well, the curse, the news that it was broken was actually incorrect. The curse is back, folks. We are back to 1 and 2. But we are also back. Flight Check is back once again. Season 1, Episode 13 on the show. And you might notice, if you're here with us, two things. One, Nox War actually has a webcam. Uh,
Yes, sir.
yes,
I'm actually in 1080p.
we sacrificed Curly so that so that Nox War could get an HD webcam. That no, he's okay. He just had to work tonight, so I scrambled home from work myself and figured out all the overlay things and how to stream on Twitch and all this stuff, so that we could do a two-man show tonight. Thank you, Curly, for putting together this two-man overlay real fast for us.
Yeah, seriously, you're a champ, Curly.
He
When
is a
you listen to
champ.
this back,
He will hopefully be back with us next week. We're looking forward to having him again. Knox, how were things for you this weekend? It was another 1-2. We're back to the 1 and 2 ways. You know, and maybe not in a way that we really expected either, I would say.
definitely not in a way that I expected. Especially like the Cloud9 game. I mean, if we're being completely honest, like I thought that was going to be a loss, right? And
Right.
so we lost that one. Although, and we'll get into it though. That loss hurt.
Yeah, it was painful.
And so then we go into TSM, which I honestly legitimately thought would be our toughest challenge of the weekend. And so then we somehow win that one and continue the 3-0 streak against them. And I'm like, oh, I mean, this makes no logical sense to me, but, I'm not going to complain. We're like, whatever. And then just to kind of stab me in the back while I'm not prepared for it, that we go and lose to Golden Guardians, which,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, after the C9 loss, I was just sitting there on the couch, just kind of like, well, I guess we just move on to the next day. And then, yeah, we kind of bounced back versus TSM. That was a great game. I felt like we did a lot of things really well. And then, yeah, the Golden Guardians game. I mean, I just watched that a little bit earlier today, but it was just I don't know what it was about that game. I felt like we had a good draft, or at least a decent draft. It wasn't my favorite draft of all time, but Golden Guardians is a team that, on paper, we should be beating. I'd say 9 times out of 10, right? And this, I guess,
I would 9.5 times out of 10, to be completely honest, if you were truly asking me.
Yeah, so I guess this is the 0.5 of the 10 that we, so it's just frustrating to lose to them. Like, again, I'm the one who always ends up shading Golden Guardians super hard. But and
you and me both. We're both guilty of that.
I promise I'm not trying to. I promise I'm not trying to do that too much. But like losing to Golden Guardians legitimately is not good. Like you just don't want to do that. Apparently, I am very quiet, so I'm gonna boost my gain up a little bit. Let's see. Hopefully that helps, folks. Yeah, Curly's in the chat, but not on the show. I don't know exactly how that works.
He's gonna give his takes via the chat. So
yeah. If Nox is quiet too, somebody please let us know, and we'll. Yeah, we killed Curly for HD webcam Nox is what we did.
It was a worthy sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like losing to Golden Guardians. I'm going to use the word unacceptable for a team that has such high aspirations and is looking to, go certain places. Like, you just can't lose to that team. You have to beat them.
No, you cannot.
So, all right. Well, so let's just take it. We'll just start with the
game by game.
Game by game. We'll go game by game. Cloud9. So we lost. Then the next day. So Cloud9.
Yeah. There's not much to talk about here, if we're being completely honest,
what do you even want to say about this game? Like,
for yeah, so for me, like my main takeaways from this game is Perks just Perks showed up this week, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like the expectation is like if Perks shows up, I think we can usually agree, a majority of the league community will agree, like, all right, we're not gonna be up to that standard.
Yeah.
However, it's like you expect some form of pushback at least, and it was just constant like loss after loss after loss. And I mean, literally, that's what it is. It was a perfect game for Cloud9,
Mm-hmm.
and no fan of any team ever wants to see their team get perfect game, no
Right.
matter who they're playing against.
Yeah, of course
And
not.
so it was just at some point, it was like, please get something, please get something, please get something.
Yeah.
And then we never got it, right? And so I think the only solace I can really take out of it is if anyone goes back and watches like the pro views, or like you go on Twitter and you can see like snapshots of like the Perks pro view, because apparently that was a pro view that was like free for that game.
Yeah.
And you could see the FlyQuest members like Licorice and like Jose Dioto and Palafox like joking in the all chat, like, can you like leash Gromp for me? Or like, you remember the good times, guys, when I was on Cloud9? And it was, so at least the guys were taking it lighthearted. It was one of those things like, okay, at a certain point, I don't know what point that was, but at a certain point they were like, okay, FF10 this match
Right,
and just
right.
go next. So
Yeah.
at least, yeah, that's the smallest solace I can take out of the game. Is it worthy solace? Probably not, but that's what I'm taking away from it.
Yeah, yeah, two things from there. Like one, I did see on the webcams, it seemed like everyone was kind of joking around, having a laugh. Like at some point they just knew the game was over and they just needed C9 to close it out. But then I guess maybe the question I have is like, yes, that's good that you are kind of keeping a positive mental and you're not getting absolutely you're not mental booming over a loss like that, right? Um but in another way, I kind of would want them to maybe get a little mad about like getting destroyed in such a way. I don't know
Yeah,
how you
no,
feel about like I'm all for trying to wow, this is gonna sound depressing. I'm all for laughing through the pain. Um, I'm all don't worry, I can talk to someone.
we got a therapist, don't
Yeah,
worry.
we have a FlightCheck therapist. Yeah, I'm all for having a positive mental attitude, absolutely. But a loss like that, and I'm glad that they came back the next day versus TSM,
Mhm.
and played consistently, played well, looked very strong, continued our winning ways against TSM, by the way. Um,
Mhm.
but I would have maybe preferred to see them look a little angrier, like a little, there weren't really any tweets about it, like it would have been nice to see something from, I think management and coaches all did say something about like, yeah, like really rough loss or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but it would have been nice to see something from them, from the players being like, yeah, we know that was unacceptable. That was horrific. Won't happen again. Just something like that.
Well, then that kind of just stems from the fact that our players just don't talk on social media at all. Like, if you go
Right.
look at like Johnson's page, his last tweets from January, I'm pretty sure. Like, Palafox is probably the most. Palafox and Jose Dioto are probably the most vocal players on Twitter or
Yeah.
social media in general.
Yeah.
And even then, Jose's is like all Spanish, which is fine. It's just
Right.
I
That's his
can't
audience.
obviously. Yeah, that's his audience. I can't relate to that at all, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Right.
I would love to, but in terms of people that I can relate to on the team, the most talkative person is Palafox, in which case he still doesn't even tweet that much. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not surprised there was not a tweet or response to that game at all. But no, I actually agree with you, Sandy. It would be nice to see like some kind of pushback to going, God, we got to get it together or
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah. We got to
at
do
the same
better. Yeah.
time, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know how much there is to go. I could not tell if Perks was BMing in his interview, because his interview he was like, "Yeah, I haven't played LeBlanc in a month.
Yeah.
Haven't played her in scrims or in solo queue." And I'm just like, "Please be BMing. Please be BMing." Like, if that's the
I,
case, then that's just some disgusting work from Perks right
I
there. So
what's terrible is I actually think he is not. I think he's telling the truth on that, because he did the exact same thing to Demonte,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
he whipped out the LeBlanc. He's like, I've been practicing this and absolutely just whooped.
Yeah.
Demonte's butt that game, right?
Yep.
And I don't remember. It was the second one, I think, the second 100 Thieves Cloud9 match, and it was just ugly. And
Yeah.
so I don't doubt him when he says I haven't played it in a month, and I'm just like, oh,
No,
God,
I don't
don't
either.
say that.
I don't
Please
either.
don't say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up pulling up Gamepedia real fast just to look at. So I think, yeah, not much to say on that game. So let's move on to FlyQuest TSM. Uh,
the
the
one bright spot
the
of our
one bright
weekend.
spot of the week. Now, if I'm being honest, um, I I think I predicted in the FlyQuest Discord pickums that run by Pick'em Commissioner Noxwar himself. Um, that FlyQuest was probably going to lose this game, and I was predicting a 1-2 and the one win coming against Golden Guardians. So I think that maybe adds on to my frustration over the Golden Guardians loss, is that this could have easily been a 2-1 week again, and that would have been
Mm-hmm.
really good for us. That would have tied us with Immortals. We would have caught 2 games up with Evil Geniuses out of 6th place. Um, but
It would have been huge for the overall standings if we'd
yeah,
taken that win against Golden Guardians. It would have been huge, especially with us playing Immortals next week. Like,
right.
I
Well,
don't
that
know how to
game,
stress how imperative that was.
yeah, and we'll get to that game because it's going to be a huge one for us. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the standings right now, uh, there's a real separation going on. Like the top half of the league is really separating itself from the bottom half. Um, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and TSM are either 4-2 or 5-1. Uh, they're pulling away from TL, from Dignitas, from EG, especially from us and Immortals. Um,
Mm-hmm.
CLG is uh, hilariously the worst team so far in
I
summer.
don't
Uh,
understand that team, dude.
believe it.
At this point, we're gonna have to stop memeing Golden
I
Guardians
think
because
CLG is the new meme. I think they are the new F tier team at this point.
which is crazy because like you look at, and we're not going to turn this into the CLG podcast, but my mind is blown at this team, the talent that's on it, and how they cannot get it together.
They
Like,
just seem to not.
yeah,
It's just, I don't know how you get a roster of veterans like that together and they just do not perform at a slightly more consistent basis. I totally get them not running the table, right? I would not expect them to go to what we've played 24 games so far. I wouldn't expect them to be at a 15, 9, 16-8. I'd expect them to be
honestly,
more a 12
I
12,
had them.
but
Yeah, I had them right where Evil Geniuses is.
yeah.
When the year was starting, I was like, they're going to be a sixth place, maybe fifth place team,
Yeah.
and that's where I thought they'd be. And then they're sitting here at ninth with a 6-18 record,
Mhm.
with Golden Guardians about to catch them at this rate.
Yeah, and I mean Golden Guardians is 2-4 in summer so far, and CLG's 1-5. So, yeah, so that just goes to show those are must-win games, right? If Golden Guardians is better than CLG, then you absolutely got to beat them and beat both CLG and Golden Guardians. But the
Yep.
TSM
Anyway,
game, yeah,
TSM, yes.
TSM. It's so easy to get distracted in all these minutiae. Uh, so we get the Viego again, and this was an
Yep.
interesting comp, right? So it's Viego, Udyr, Silas, Kog'Maw, Lulu. And there was a lot about this game that I really liked, and there were a few things that I did not. Um, so I loved the Silas pick for
Yep.
Palafox. I love seeing him
Honestly,
on this champ.
it's his signature pick at this point. It
If
is the go-to pick.
if we could put him on Silas almost every game, if it fit like whatever comp we were going for, I would.
Mhm.
He's so freaking good on this champ. The Kog'Maw was interesting. Um,
I actually like the switch up. I think it was something that TSM didn't prep for.
I agree, and I want to point out that hard stomped is not the right word, but bot lane did so well in this TSM game.
They had priority the whole game.
They were
Didn't
aggressive.
yeah.
It's not like sometimes you'll see these teams pick a bot lane like Cog Lulu and not be aggressive, not poke out, not do all this stuff that they should be doing with this lane. And Johnson and Dreams did exactly what they needed to do with these picks. I mean, I remember there was one wave that was like 15 minions that they crashed against the tower.
The turret. Yep.
Yeah, that they crashed against tier 1 bot and lost, could barely farm them. So got ahead early there. The Viego, Licorice did get ganked a lot. Sir ganks a lot up there, or Sir
The new
ganked a
Dyrus
lot.
2.0.
Yeah, Licorice is basically our Dyrus. Kind of rough. I think he even acknowledged it in the interview afterwards, saying something about like, yeah, they really hate me, so they just like came up top, a bunch of
He even
times.
tweeted it. He tweeted out, "Please
Yeah.
stop diving me."
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe that goes to show the respect that opponents are giving him, that they do want to put him behind as much as possible. Um, but he had his revenge. Some really good plays later in the game. Um, but yeah, so this was a fun comp. I liked it. And yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts? What did you see in this game?
So I liked I'll say it again. I really liked the Juggernaut duo down bot lane. I don't think TSM was prepared for that, so I think that really took them off guard. I think it was kind of odd that TSM just let VA go through for us yet again. Granted, I mean, they punished it, so I think that was part of their plan.
Yeah.
But the other thing was the Silas. Like, y'all let Silas through again for us. Like, it's, again, one of the best picks for Palafox this entire year. Not even the split, but the year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. At a certain point, y'all got to start, like, don't get me wrong. I know we're not a high ranked team or anything, and you could probably not give us 100% respect, but.
Right.
If you're going to let Palafox have Silas, you are asking for trouble, like straight up. Like, don't put that much disrespect on my man.
Yeah.
So overall, I thought the comp was fine, and a lot of it just really felt like the bot lane just took advantage of TSM's bot lane. I don't think they were prepared for that, and then they were like, okay, well, we'll go top lane and shut Licorice down. In which case they were doing a good job of that. And I've got some fair amount of criticism for Licorice and the fact that he was not playing a proper weak side.
Okay.
We can get into that in Golden Guardians as well, because he didn't do well there either. But really, it was just the bot lane took over. Jose Diota did his thing, Palafox did his thing, and then Licorice was technically still doing his job by being the bait down in the side lane or whatever it was, even though he was doing a great job at it. And it just let FlyQuest do their thing. And we had a couple of inta moments in the jungle where we decided to go for 5v5s, and it's like, why are we fighting there? And TSM won it. But then TSM went full dumb, trying to go for Baron multiple times when it was like, we win these 5v5s. And that is literally the game-winning fight. Is you can see TSM start Baron for like the third or fourth time. And it's like, I remember I was sitting there and I was like, guys, what, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not even fans of you, but why are you starting this Baron? FlyQuest is going to come in and just roll you, and then we did, and then the game was done. I was like, you know what? Wasn't expecting to take that W this weekend. I'll take it. And that was all I looked at.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing them. I think they started up Baron like 3 times, right? And
yeah, it was like 3 or 4. It was like good God, guys, give it a rest.
It was like 3 times. Yeah, and I was like, maybe they were thinking, oh yeah, 3rd time is the charm. We'll get it this time. And then yeah, we just came in and kind of wiped it. And that was really good. And that puts us at a 3-0 versus TSM for the season, which is great. Like, if you did that in a best of 5, man, that would be...
We're good!
Yeah, that would be rad. I mean, that's a best of 5 right there. That's a big upset. But I think that result and the Golden Guardians result just goes to show a bit of my frustration with the team so far this year is 3-0 over TSM. And then if you look at the rest of some of the other matches that we've done, 2-1, like we've dropped a game to Golden Guardians, we've lost both our spring matches to Immortals. We're 1-2 against EG, 0-3 against Dignitas.
We're
100.
we're 0-3 against everyone above us outside, or not 0-3, but 0-2 or 0-3 above against everyone above us outside of TSM is what
Yeah.
it is.
And even like 100 Thieves, back in spring when they didn't have Abadage, I feel like they're like you absolutely could have the way they were playing with Rioma and Demonte, they could have FlyQuest could have taken a game off of 100 Thieves. So it just feels like there's been a lot of missed opportunities so far. And
Yes.
again, it's a win over Golden Guardians puts us at 4-2 for summer. Doing exactly what we kind of were asking for, which is go 2-1 or 3-0 every single week, which is what you need to do in order to put yourself in a decent playoff position. As it stands, uh, Counter Logic Gaming is so bad that it might not matter. we might be okay. We might be
Yeah.
able to will probably be fine just because they and Golden Guardians are so significantly worse right now than everyone else. And obviously, there's time for that to change up. But for now, I think we should be counting. What's the phrase? Counting our lucky star. Is that what it is?
Counting our lucky stars, yeah.
Yeah, counting our lucky stars that CLG and Golden Guardians are so significantly worse than us. So that's what I would have to say about that. Did you have any
Yeah,
other
no,
thoughts on the TSM game?
I just, if we could play like that all the time, like don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, we had mistakes in that TSM game. Like we took some dumb fights here and there, but for the most part, we had good objective setups and we had good lane priority. And Jose Dioto was moving around the jungle properly, and we looked solid. Like
Yeah.
we looked like probably debatably a top four team in
Mm-hmm.
that TSM match.
Yeah.
And so I don't
At
know
least
what it
top five.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least top five. Maybe top four is a little ambitious, but like at least the top five team, right? And so I don't know what we need to do to have that consistency in that TSM match and then spread it out amongst all our other games.
Well,
I don't know what needs to be
I
done.
I can tell you one thing we need to do. When Dreams is playing Tom Kench, don't TP into the middle of a bunch of Golden Guardians.
Oh,
Yep, you
that
know
would hurt.
exactly the moment. Dude, I watched this match like literally an hour ago, and I was looking at the draft, and I was like, okay, I know this game wraps up, around the 26-minute mark. So how do we lose this? Like, just straight up, how do we lose this game? And then I watched Dreams TP into the middle of the Golden Guardians and give up first blood,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, excuse me,
Yeah.
Dreams, are you good? You good, bro? Like, what's going on? That was like, I don't know if that was bad comms, or
So
what, but
actually, I was going to say this game looked like the main reason that we lost it was comms, and I have multiple specific instances to point out. But
let's
finish your point first.
no, I was gonna say let's get into it. It's just like that was the game was messy. It was the complete opposite. It's like I was watching a completely different team from the TSM game. We looked aggressive versus TSM. We were being proactive, making plays, all the things that like I've wanted to see. And I have said on this show multiple times, I want us to play aggressive. I want us to be proactive. And then we draft Senna Tom Kench, and it's just
Which
like
is still okay.
it's
It's
still
still an okay
okay, but
pick.
it's like it's not an aggressive bot lane. Um, you're going you're going for late game. You put Licorice on the Gnar, and I'm so tired of seeing this man play Gnar. Um, could have, and I don't know if like it didn't work out just in terms of draft timing, but because we had already picked the Senna, and I think we went Senna Akali with our first pick, and then you
Yeah.
kind of you have to pick the Tom Kench at that point.
Mhm.
But after the first ban phase, Viego was still up,
Yes.
and I would have preferred Licorice on the Viego. We know how good this champion is. We know what he can do on it. We know that he is a much better laner than Solo. Um, and I think he could have done a lot of damage if we had adjusted the picks and taken the Viego instead of the Akali. and then just looked for something else to put Palafox on. Maybe, yeah.
See, I don't know. Like, granted, this may be partially the league community right now, but everyone in the league community is like, Akali is way too OP.
Well,
Like,
if that's the case, then just ban her in the next phase, right? Like, if you don't want to play against her. Well, actually, we were red side, so we could have picked her. We could have picked her anyway because they had. If I'm looking at pick ban history,
they went Lee Sin, Rumble, Ezreal, and they
right.
saved their mid lane counter pick till the very last, and it was a
Yeah,
set.
yeah, and they ended up taking the set top lane. Yeah,
Or
so,
yeah, I
yeah, because
guess it
they
was was it Lee Sin mid?
yeah it ended up being Lee Sin mid because they basically had a ton of flex possibility between the set, the Rumble, and the Lee Sin. They just had so many flex picks going on, which was really good. I mean, that's your Inero draft right there. Just
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
um,
I don't know. It's one of those things like because I'm also terrified. Like, what if you give the Akali over to a Blaze Olive?
I'm not really.
Like, do you just ban? Here,
I think
actually,
you just. I
here
think
my you want to know my issue?
I think you just ban the Akali in phase two, right? That you just do that.
You want to know what my issue is?
What's the issue?
I've noticed this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
Uh huh.
Guess what top lane ban we consistently ban all the time?
All right. Hang on. I'm gonna look.
I'll
So
give you I'll give you a little hint. It's a certain champion that our top laner refuses to play.
yeah, Renekton.
Yes,
Yes,
we consistently ban Renekton.
it's our first ban every single time. Like it doesn't matter if we ban it first on blue. This past week, we banned it. First ban on blue versus C9 and TSM, and then it was our first ban after the Gwen ban on red, and then last week, we banned it. Yeah, we ban it in the first phase every
We
single
ban it
time.
every first rotation,
Every
every
first
single
rotation.
time.
And I'm looking, it's
So
like even back to spring. Like, uh, yeah. Like, no matter what, if we don't ban it first rotation, we're probably banning it second rotation. So, okay, this raises a really interesting question, and thank you for bringing this up.
mhm.
Why the hell do we not play Renekton? And why are we so scared to play against a Renekton?
So to the first question,
Like, what is
why do
going
we
on
not
there?
why do we not play it?
Yeah,
That question is probably more relevant towards spring because I don't think it's as huge of a pick now.
it's
Not
not.
that it's not a
It's not.
relevant question, but it was
What?
probably more prevalent back in spring.
And if you would listen to the Church of LS, Renekton has never been good. So
Supposedly, yes.
supposedly,
But
but it still warrants a ban in the first phase every single game for some reason.
that's the important thing that I want an answer to
Yeah,
is currently I feel like for whatever reason Licorice cannot play this champion and he cannot play against this champion
yeah,
and I want to know the reason why. It is not a champion that I ever see being a huge problem in most games. Don't get me wrong, you have the rare occasional like pop off Renekton game and yeah, that happens. But in a majority of games, it's not your Ezreal's currently. It's not your Akali's currently. It's just a solid top
it's
lane pick.
it's not even your Gwen's currently. Like Gwen is
Yes.
absolutely a champ you should be banning. Straight away. If you're on red side, you have to ban the Gwen. And the people who let it through are usually kind of sad when they do. So,
So yeah, no, exactly. And so why is it that like if you don't want to play it right now, that's fine. I have no issues with that.
yeah,
I probably had a bigger issue with it in spring, but if you don't want to play it right now, whatever, because it's not hugely in meta. But
right,
why are you banning it?
yeah. Well, I mean, what's interesting is that okay, so I'm looking at summer, and maybe this is a question that's maybe for not just us, but for the entire LCS. Uh, Renekton has a 93% pick ban uh, ratio. He's
In summer?
in summer
Wow.
93%, and in 28 games that he's appeared in some shape or form, He has been banned in 25 of those games.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe my prerogative is wrong, and he's actually super overpowered right now, and I
Well,
just haven't
but then
seen it then.
ironically, in the 3 games that he has played, he hasn't won. So, so
Oh, are you kidding
he's
me?
got a 0% win rate. And then who has played him? Perks, Pobelter, and Solo have all played
Oh
him.
yeah, because Perks played that 0-7 game, so that
Yep.
really was bad.
Yeah.
Then Pobelter also played him and had a really bad game.
And
And
then
then who was the third one?
Solo played him.
And that's just a crappy team.
And that game
So
was
it's two.
against
It's two.
that was a loss against CLG. Yeah, and it was going into a Gwen. So yeah.
Okay, so two really bad mid lane picks, and then a team. Granted, playing another team that's really bad, but playing into a Gwen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like the sample size is not good, but it's very interesting that it has such a high ban rate.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's got the same presence as Gwen. I mean, like, here's the champs that have crazy high presence right now. I mean, Rumble and Lee Sin have 100% presence. They're either banned or picked. Udyr still cannot get rid of this champion for some god
You're
awful
still
reason.
so upset about it.
It's like it's less bad now because like Turbo Chem Tank isn't as good. I think they nerfed Turbo Chem Tank or
They
something.
did, yes.
Like you don't have like the crazy fast walking man anymore. You don't see like
No.
super speed Udyr anymore. So it's not as BS, but it's still like such a. I'm so tired of this champion. Especially because Jose likes to play him a lot, and I would much rather see him on something exciting like a Lee Sin or anything. Even though Lee Sin
Mm-hmm.
is not great in jungle right now. Anyway, uh, Licorice on Gnar. That's where we left off.
And begging the question of, so I think us picking Akali is fine, but it begs the question of my original question of why are we banning Renekton?
Yeah. Well, and I think that brings then back to the question that I had was like, uh, why the Gnar? Why not go for the Viego instead? I just make that because I think we ended up banning the Viego there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we did. No, they did. They
Viego.
did.
Yeah,
It
they
was
did.
it was their last ban. We banned the Bard and LeBlanc for some reason, and
Well, we were terrified of the
I
LeBlanc
I did
from
say that
Perks,
when I did my
apparently.
VOD review earlier. I was like, oh, looks like we've got a little PTSD over LeBlanc. But I mean, a Blaze Olive's LeBlanc versus Perks's
Perks
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc, not the same.
Yeah, not the same. Yeah, not they're built differently, you might say. And then the Bard ban was super weird to me as well. I didn't.
So actually, Chime is a one-trick bard. Well, I shouldn't say one-trick. He's in
Yeah, okay,
LCS
yeah,
now, but
but he's
before
really
becoming Academy LCS,
okay.
he was a one-trick bard. So
Okay,
that's
I
why.
don't. Yeah, I don't know Chime super well, so that's very fair. And
His name is literally off of the chimes from Bard, to give
I
you an
should
idea.
have known. That makes so much more sense. I like the name. I hope he does well. I'm always hype for NA talent. And I do have a soft spot for Bard players. I think it's a very cool champion. Okay, well, it makes more sense that we banned the Bard. Unfortunate that we had to drop a ban there. But yeah,
Happens.
I feel like we could have taken because like Silas doesn't get banned here, right? I mean, what would you think about
I mean,
taking
Silas works here, like, because
taking the Viego instead of the Akali, right? And then going for the Silas later. And then like we ban the Akali or like they basically have to choose between banning Akali or Silas and we take whatever's left.
yeah, it gets kind of weird because they decided to just leave both up and they decided to take the Akali. Akali beats Silas in lane, if I
Yeah,
recall
and then I guess
correctly.
you just take something else into the Akali instead of Silas. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
just
one of those
feel
things.
any way you spin it, I feel like there must have been some other way to get licorice on something other than Gnar. And I'm gonna keep beating this dead Yordle we until we get him on something more proactive, like the Viego. Like he's great on the Viego. If Gwen ever gets through, get him on Gwen. So
I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge fan of the Gnar pick, but the thing I was even less a fan of was Licorice's play itself. If you want to
sure,
start getting into the game,
yeah. Let's talk game. We talked draft for like 15 minutes there. So
so
besides the Dreams TP, what were some other moments in time that you want to point out?
so we came top, we get a kill onto Solo, which is a good counter,
It was a
and
clean dive.
then
It was a very
it
clean
was a clean
dive.
dive. It was
Yeah,
fine, minus the Jose flashing the Rumble ult when I
yeah.
think he
That
probably could have walked through it, but
he
whatever.
would have
It's
been
not
fine
that big
there.
of a deal. The really other big moment of miscommunication or lack of communication, some form of bad communication, I guess you could say, comes at the dragon fight. And hold on, I'm like looking at the VOD as I'm scrolling and talking right now. It's the second Drake. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
so it's at the second Drake, and basically you can see we start the dragon, and basically no one's there. We still have the Akali in mid lane. We still have it's like Jose Dioto and everyone else kind of like right there in the dragon pit, and then we have two people up in mid lane, and then we have someone's like getting pushed off in the bot lane, and we get separated and we can't even take the fight, and then we still go for it anyway. And I'm just like, guys, you got to learn that you did not get a proper Drake setup, and you just got
Hmm.
to let it go.
Yeah.
And from there, it just started snowballing. So there's a lot of like, and you can watch this, right? You can literally see at that moment Golden Guardians comes in and just completely walls us off from each other, and it's just like, okay, weird. Like, there's got to be someone calling out this thing on the map where it's just like we're walled off from each other. This is a bad fight. Just give the objective, and we'll come back again later. Because at the end of the day, like we should theoretically be the better team fighting team with
Hmm.
a Senna and a Kali, Volibear and a Gnar. Like that is a huge team fighting team.
Yeah, I was.
So I just back off, come at it again in a little bit.
Yeah, and I could be wrong on this, but we should have looked for a lot more team fights. It felt like because it was a very low kill game, just like on our side, right? We didn't go for a lot of fights. Like we went for that dive early, um, but it felt like we almost respected them too much. And like this is not a team that you should be giving a ton of respect to. Like we're just better than them. I think that's fair to say. And maybe that's cocky, but like you have to kind of have that attitude, as a team. You have to start saying like, look, we're just better than these guys, and we know it, and we can beat them. And
So
that's, I mean, it feels like that's the attitude that they went in to the TSM match with, right?
yeah, no, for sure.
And like you got to carry that over. And then yeah, I think you were right about the comms looking a little sus, just like not being on the same page. Some of those Drake setups being a little rough. I'm trying to remember. I think Johnson. I could be really wrong about this. Johnson like barely used his ult all game. I think he used it like maybe twice. And
He actually had a fair amount of times he used it, but there was only like two times where it was like really like that was a good ult.
right, yeah,
So
it
that
just
may be
felt
what you're
like
remembering.
yeah, it just never felt like the Senna, and maybe it just the game didn't go long enough for her to have a real effect. Um, but it just felt like the Senna just really did not do a ton, and it was like the opposite of the the bot lane that I had seen yesterday, where they were proactive, aggressive, grabbing priority. And obviously, like Senna TK is not going to have like a ton of priority in lane, right? You're kind of like
Yeah,
sort of
no,
you're
they were
sac
getting pushed in via
yeah,
Ezreal Rakan.
yeah, like so you're never going to have priority as Senna TK, but like there's to some extent I think you can mitigate that to a bit, because Senna does have a lot of poke going on. So I was just not super pleased with the bot lane in that game, or at least with Dreams and Johnson's performance. But
Yeah, again, for me, the biggest defender was a Licorice still. Just did not play weak side, did not respect Solo. I think honestly, Solo smurfed Licorice this game, if we're being completely
Wow.
honest.
Wow. I mean, that's
Uh,
yeah.
and I again, if
I
you want, I'm
sure.
not just saying that. Like I will point out examples right now. I'm looking at it right now. And so like twice he gets ganked twice in the top lane, right?
Yeah.
And so the first time like Flash gets blown, and it's honestly just a good gank from Iconic, which is something else I want to mention here in a second.
Yeah.
But then he comes back and completely disrespects the fact of the possibility of Iconic just like, oh, I'll swing back here in about 45 seconds and I'll do the same thing again.
Yep.
Like literally, it's like the SpongeBob meme. Like, you want to watch me do it again? And that was literally Iconic. And so Licorice comes in and he gets killed again, and then just it was like, what are you doing? You're not playing weak side, and you can go look at the TSM game, and like he had two
Yeah.
deaths in the TSM game where it was like, why are you there? You're
Right.
playing weak side. You should know that you're getting camped. Back off.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Licorice's play this weekend was just. I'm trying to be positive here, but
What you
like
could
the
maybe.
first word that comes to mind was abysmal.
Oh, I was just gonna go with a little sus, but that's yeah.
And I know, like, I wish I could be a little more positive, but
Oh yeah.
Licorice did not look good this weekend at
That's
all.
fair.
Like,
Yeah.
he's not living, at least this weekend, he's not living up to the price that Flight was paid to get his buyout.
Well,
Straight up.
do you think part of that is the people around him, or like maybe he's getting revealed as like the player that he always was, and he was getting propped up by the good players around him at Cloud9? Or do you think he's legitimately just like having a slump, you know?
I think so. I think he is a good player. I think this spring was basically outside of a couple games here or there. Like he looked okay. Like his
Yeah.
solo performances in games were decent.
Right.
In which case, I mean, when you're buying him out from Cloud9, though, I kind of expect a higher performance rate. But like, it's nothing to like complain about, right? It's just like it should be noted. Like I kind of expect a little more from you, but whatever. There's other glaring issues that we need to address. And then coming into the summer, and we go 2-1 the first week, which he didn't really stand out outside of that Gwen game. Like that Gwen game was like beauty, right?
Right.
The
Yeah.
other two games were kind of just like, okay, you're here, you're doing your job, whatever.
Yeah.
And then so it may be just this weekend, right? But that tailored with the fact that he's not had a super, or he has not met my expectations of what I want from him in spring, on top of the fact that this Renekton ban thing is bothering the absolute hell out of me. I'm just like, oh, dude, you are making me really question you right now. Like, granted, let's wait till next weekend. He may have just had a really, really bad weekend this weekend, but damn, it was a bad weekend for Licorice.
I mean,
and I say that lovingly too.
It's interesting to me that to say like one more thing about the Renekton ban. I know we've talked about
No, for sure.
drafts a lot, but like what's interesting to me about those bans is that we are doing them on blue side. And if Renekton is supposedly so good as to be banned 25 out of 28 games, or 25 out of 30 games, and then picked in 3 by LCS teams, then why are we not going for it on blue side and like forcing red side to ban it, right? Like if it's that good, why are we using a ban on blue side when we can just like first pick it or something?
Here, and the other thing is you have to consider that I bet you at least most teams should, if they're doing proper analyst work, no one bans Renekton against us, which frees up another ban for whatever else they want to throw it on.
Right, yeah. I mean, they probably realize, like, look, they ban Renekton every single game. They ban, yeah, so. Yeah, it's interesting.
But no, I don't mean to harp on Licorice, but like,
no, I
don't
think we are.
This guy's meant to be the veteran of our team. I don't know
well,
if I'm
we've
being
got veteran
greedy and wanting higher expectations or what, but
we've got veteran number 2 now, Dreams. You know,
true.
I think he's probably stepping into that role.
Which I think he's warming up to it.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked terrible so far at all.
No, I think Dreams has looked really good. I would go so far as to say he's probably looked better than Diamond.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I really hate to say that. You guys know I love myself some Diamond. But yeah, I think Dreams has looked better so far. Do we want to... Oh, I know what next segment we're going to move on to. We're going to move on to a little segment called Curly's Absentee Takes. So, thankfully, our man on the scene, Curly, left us with some takes to go over.
I
Uh,
I I love stuff left out from when I come home from work and mom's not home yet.
all right, so here's the first one. So we'll just hit these super duper fast. Okay, so this actually helps us segue into next week's games. So because these are all I'll be honest, I did not read these takes ahead of time. I just saw that he sent them, and now I'm reading them for the first time, which is probably good because they're blind, right? I don't know what the takes are.
I could read them and then you can gather your thoughts if you want.
No, no, no. Well, this will help us just talk about the games next week.
Okay.
Which, so let's preface that with, oh boy, this is going to be a tough weekend. It's Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, and Immortals. They all three could beat us. Could we beat all three? I don't know. But let's start. Let's start with Curly's take on TL. Curly says, "We can beat TL. Given the right champs, I believe we have better solo laners, and we just need to make sure Jose Diodo is able to secure objectives or early ganks that result in kills. Particularly if we give Palafox a carry and a good lead, he can carry hard. Please don't give Licorice Lee Sin. He's a good player, but there are better champs for him." All right, so I'm gonna agree on the Lee Sin part.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Palafox or Jose on Lee Sin than Licorice. Jose, I am not worried about him securing objectives. He really does well at going for drag, pre 7 minutes. He really he goes for that all the time, and it's really good to see. Um, Given the right champs, I believe we have better solo laners. So he's basically saying Palafox better than Jensen and Licorice better than currently Jenkins. Yeah,
Jenkins.
because it's not Alfari right now. Hope whatever is going on for him that he figures things out, and that things resolve themselves. But in the meantime, we might have an opportunity to beat TL because of that. So I'm not going to complain too much. Okay, yeah, Nox, thoughts on Team Liquid? I personally, even with Jenkins being in, I still don't feel great about our odds here.
Uh, yeah. So my main issue with TL right now is I actually agree with Curly for the most part, at least on the top lane side. And then Jensen has not particularly impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I've not been a Jensen lover anyway. Y'all have heard my takes on him in the past about how if TL actually wants to have international success, they need to get rid of Jensen. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Um, Jensen's not particularly impressed me at all. He's just solid.
Okay.
He's solid, which is great.
Right.
But that's all that he is. He's solid. So
Yeah.
by all means, if Palafox is having a very on game, I actually do think he can surpass Jensen.
Sure.
And then for the most part, with Licorice is not having a slump weekend like this past weekend, I think he is generally better than Jenkins. So on that point, I actually agree with Curly for the most part. I think it's absolutely possible. Where the issue lies is Jose Diodo versus Santorin. At least so far, granted, I know TL's dropped games, but Santorin has looked good this summer.
Interesting.
He's looked really good this summer, I
Yeah.
feel. I've been very impressed with his play. I've been very impressed with his pathing. He's currently, for me personally, he's looking better than Blabber right now.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really going to kill us. And that's something I'm going to highlight in the FlightCheck weekend forecast later this weekend is just we've got to figure out a way to shut down Santorin because if Santorin's able to do whatever he wants, that's immediately game over for us. So that's my main issue. I think honestly our bot lanes look solid so far this summer. I think they can hold stable against Tactical and Core JJ. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to win that matchup, but I think they can hold stable. I think Licorice can beat Jenkins. I think if Palafox is on and then Jensen's just playing normal, I think we could have two winning lanes, but really the scared matchup I have is Jose Diota versus Santorin.
Okay. No, I think that's fair. I'm giving us like a 35-65 in terms of a FlyQuest win here. That's how I'm feeling.
I'm feeling 30-70, so we're about the same range.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. Um, I do think that I think there's a world where just like Johnson outperforms tactical. I'm not super high on tactical personally. Um, and yeah, I think Licorice can outlane Jenkins if he plays up to the standard that we know he can. So I think it's possible. I think it would require a really good draft. I don't think if we ran that Golden Guardians draft that we would win versus Liquid. But
Yeah, we'd probably get our bot lane would get pushed in, and that would
yeah,
be the collapse,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah, so I'd rather see something like the Cog Lulu. Again, get priority for the bot lane, something like that.
Yeah.
And I would say something similar for 100 Thieves. Curly says, I wish I could confidently say we win this. They're too strong right now, though, and that's okay for me. I'm fine with losing as long as we learn from it so we win the next time. All right, so TLDR, Curly says, lose is improve.
Where are you at, 100 Talk Pod? This is your segment.
Yeah, this is your time to shine. We are about to compliment your team. This team is really freaking good. They look like the best team in the league right now. I'm not lying. In my opinion, they are on their way to Worlds. I think they're gonna do it.
Yeah. I would honestly say,
which is what I said at the
gameplay wise,
yeah.
they're gonna be first.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I would not be shocked at this point. I think they're insane. Abadage was clearly the missing piece on this roster. I'm just happy for Someday. He's finally got a good team. For like the first time in a few years, he's got good pieces around him and good people. So yeah, some daddy's finally got a team to roll with. So yeah, I give this like a 10-90. The 90 in favor of 100 Thieves. How about you? I just don't see it happening.
Funnily enough, I'm probably more positive than you on this one.
Okay.
I was giving this a 25-75.
Oh, okay, sure.
So don't get me wrong, I think we have a less of a chance than we do against versus Liquid, but I do see little faults that, again, we have to be playing like really, really good to have this 25 happen. But if you've watched 100 Thieves games, they typically, so far, granted, I think this team has not shown everything they've got.
Okay.
But so far, they've shown that they typically like to have closer play around the bot lane and the mid lane, and they've typically left Someday to his own devices. And the plus side for 100 Thieves right now is, like, a lot of people have pointed out that Someday was having a bit of a slump towards the end of spring. It doesn't look like he's in that slump anymore. He looks like he's back to good old Some Daddy, and he's going to show you what Daddy's really made of.
Oh,
so,
yikes.
So, with that said, though, like I said, Closer's been putting a lot of focus on the mid and bot lane, which is fine. Yeah. That's just their play style.
Right.
However, from a strategic standpoint, there's room there to be punished on. Mm-hmm. And so if we decide to make it a point to go top and try and shut down Someday and have him revisit his old slumping days from the end of spring, there's possibilities there.
Okay.
Is it likely? No. But again, kind of highlighting little foreshadowing of my forecast this weekend. If we want to beat 100 Thieves, we're targeting Someday.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you got to target Someday. You just have to outplay them, and like I'm sure it can happen. I just don't really have the confidence for it. If that's fair,
I don't have the confidence for it either. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah,
but
not seeing it, man. Not seeing it. So
if we're to do it,
yes,
that's how I predict that we do it.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think that can be done. All right, finally, Probably if we're gonna pull off another 1-2 curse week again. I'm so tired of these 1-2 weeks, man. You have no idea. I just
You and me both, dude.
oh
I
man,
think everyone in the community is tired of these one
just
two weeks. I think we were all just thrilled to have a 2-1 week last week just to get a little like hurrah in there, and now we're just right back to it again.
yep. This is a. I know it's really early in the season. This is a must-win match. You have to win
Yeah.
this. Like this is your direct opponent. Um, this is a winnable game. Uh, yeah, like they did so well in week one, and then week two they 0-3. They went 0-3 this week, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they 0-3, and their losses were Evil Geniuses, Dignitas, and TL.
So, in just my little disclaimer is that first EG game they had pretty in instead of
Yes,
insanity.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Um, Curly says, I genuinely have no idea what to think in this matchup. I've been unable to get a good read on Immortals. They win matches I don't expect them to in week one, but then go 0-3. But we beat Evil Geniuses who beat Immortals, so hypothetically we should beat them. Okay.
Hey, by that logic, send it.
You know what?
Send it.
At that logic, 90-10 in favor of FlyQuest. We're
Yep.
going.
Send it.
No, I actually am pretty confident that we can beat them. I think Palafox is way better than Insanity. I think Licorice is way better than Revenge. I think Xerxes is probably better than Jose. I think Xerxes goes underappreciated. Um,
Mhm.
and then I think our
Especially with Rumble in the meta. The man's
yeah,
actually been a Rumble jungler since
he's
all the way back in
he's
2017.
nutty. And then I think the bot lane is pretty even. Um, so I think we just like we're better solo lane wise, like hands down. So again, for me, it's just like get a good aggressive draft where we can get priority in lane, stack some drags, and clean 25-28 minute win. Like it should not be too difficult. I think it'll be probably a little close, but like this is a game that we should win. You got to win these games. So that's how I'm feeling on that. How about you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to think. So I agree with you. I think Xerxes is probably better than Jose Diodo, and that's going to be a huge matchup point.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if Xerxes can affect the rest of the map before Jose Diodo can, I don't. Because the thing is, like, I think Palafox is a little better than Insanity. I think Revenge has actually leveled up a lot. I think he's getting to
Mm-hmm.
be a decent top laner. And if
Okay.
Licorice is kind of in a slump right now, I still think Licorice is generally better than Revenge. But if he's slumping right now and Revenge is leveling up, that level is pretty close.
Yeah.
And so that's where Jose Diodo and Xerxes come in. And if Xerxes is beating Jose Diodo to the punch, that little tiny difference is going to get upset the opposite direction, and then it's going to suddenly start flying in Immortal's favor. And that's what I'm nervous about. So once again, I think honestly, this weekend's really just going to come down to how good is Jose Diodo. Is he going to live up to being import status for us? Is he going to live up to the legend that he was down in Latin America, that he showed on the international stage back in Worlds? Like, this is the weekend that we need that man to show up. And I think he can, but like, this is the weekend we're banking on him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jose really needs to step up. And I think we got to see more from Licorice. I know we were talking about this earlier, but I just got to reiterate that we need him to play at a level. I mean, I just remember several moments over the weekend where he was either sticking around too long or he got caught out. Just like mistakes that you would not expect from him, right? Like that you would expect that at this point in time, with his experience at his level, that he wouldn't stick around. I think versus Golden Guardians, he walks back to lane, he steps out, and Iconic and Solo have just been sitting in the top bush, just waiting for him to come back. And like, there's no missing ping. He doesn't like face check. He doesn't put a ward. He doesn't even check the brush. He just walks up to lane, and then they just jump on him and kill him. And I'm not saying that like that's dumb. but like that's something I would do in my bronze games. I would just
It,
not check the bush, and like, but you like if you don't know where your lane opponent is, right? Like throw a ward, like do something, like get some vision to know where your opponent is at that
it,
point.
it kind of goes back to I think Licorice was playing a little too disrespectful this weekend. And actually, this kind of brings up the one brief point I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Why is it that Iconic, who has been playing abysmally, and I say that knowing I say that knowing I use that word for Licorice,
Yeah.
abysmally for the whole year,
Yeah.
has his
Well,
first real standout game against us.
I
Like,
know.
why?
It's like it's just so classic, right? And like I don't think iconic because people were like really trashing on him and Niles, and I just want to say I know I like trash Golden Guardians a lot, but like again, this is a kid who was literally playing in collegiate last year. I think he's not been amazing, but he's also been thrown onto an underperforming LCS team, with a bunch of similar level players, and the community then expects him to just be, the next, Bangy or Blank or,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it's like, no, give him some time. But yeah, so maybe we're finally seeing the true iconic coming out, and of course, it happens against us. So yeah, like he had one Rumble ult that was around one of the Ocean Drakes, like around 20 minutes maybe, like closer to 20 minutes. That was so perfectly placed in Bot River, that just
Mm-hmm.
completely cut off our pursuit and stopped us from potentially taking a fight, like we were saying earlier. With a team fight comp, a fight that we want to go for. Um, yeah, he had a great ult that stopped us. Um, that reminds me, there was another moment that like just kind of made me, face palm a little bit, where Licorice, I forget if he TP'd in or he came in, but it was a drag fight. It was for Ocean Drake. He got a fantastic ulti off. I think he might have gotten four of them, and there was no follow up.
And
Like
so, and that
like
was
he
what I was
just
saying
he
was
got the
solo.
he got the stun off. He got the ulti, I think, into the wall, and then just dies because there's no one else there to do damage. And I was just like, what are we doing? Why are we not talking about, oh, I'm going for this ult, or and then people are there to deal the damage? You've got the Akali. Why is the Akali not instantly in there just eviscerating the entire Golden Guardians lineup?
So actually, because I'm looking at it right now, I have it
Yeah.
pulled up, and what it is that solo's in there, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about just solo actually smurfed on Licorice this match. Basically, solo comes in and just blocks off the entire team from being able to get, because Licorice hit a great ult, but solo comes in and just like literally a giant wall. No one gets past solo
Yeah.
at all. And then set being set, he's far tankier than Gnar, which kind of goes back to the Gnar pick. Why did we pick Gnar? Just he doesn't solo doesn't even die because he just pops True Grit or his shield or whatever,
Yeah.
and he literally just blocked out.
Yep. Yeah. I will note that on the stream, your camera has frozen in a really funny face.
Oh, that's awkward.
Oh, that's funny.
Do I need to reset or something or no?
Yeah, maybe just reboot your camera or something. I don't know. But yeah, your camera's frozen. It's kind of funny. Um, oh, now he's. Oh, yeah, you're back.
Better.
Yep, you're fixed.
Yep.
I'll cut that out of
Oh
the
God,
audio.
I'm looking at it on my
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Screenshot that. Someone make a meme out of it. I don't
Yeah.
know what you
Oh,
can
oh
use that
man.
for, but
When Licorice gets a perfect Gnar ulti and there's no follow up. That's the meme right there.
like the only way that'd be better is if my finger was up or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so just to finish this up with back to Immortals real fast. Give me your percentage for this game.
I'm gonna give us 40-60. I think this one's
Wow.
close.
I was actually gonna do 55-45 for us.
You really?
I
You
think
think FlyQuest has a better chance?
we are only one win behind them. Like it's not
This is
this is not 100 Thieves that we're going up against. This is not Cloud9 that we're going up against. It's Immortals. Um,
Yeah, no, no, all absolutely true facts.
so yeah, I think this is going to be another 1-2 week. If we can beat TL 2-1, but I just don't see us beating 100 Thieves in their current form. I just don't see it happening. Uh, Road Roller says, well, he also says logic doesn't work in NA, and then he also wants to know who your girlfriend is picking for these games because that's truly who will win. Which, this is correct, folks. Nox's girlfriend is actually a savant when it comes to
Yeah,
LCS pick'ems. And this brings up another topic that
I'm not salty at all on either of these topics that
yeah,
we're
can
about to
you
talk about.
what was Road Roller's take in the Discord earlier? I can't pull this up otherwise I'll lose
Yeah,
your
I got it.
video.
So
But read
I,
this out for
I
us cuz this was fantastic.
I asked in our Discord earlier if there's anything anyone wanted to talk about, and Road Roller wrote, "How are we, people that are watching and following the LCS, losing to someone who randomized their picks for the first week, Hooli, who finished 11-4 the first week, and someone that knows nothing about LCS whatsoever, my girlfriend who
Yeah.
doesn't watch LCS and has only ever listened to things that I've said about it out loud when I'm like venting about things.
Oh my
She knows
gosh.
nothing, and she is currently the leader as of week 2 in our pick'ems right now,
Is
and
she actually the leader?
she's actually number one. She's sole first place.
No way.
She had the highest score tied with Night Fighter this week at 13-2,
Okay, well,
and I am not salty about it whatsoever.
that's actually insane. Um, you're gonna have to let us know what she picks so that we know what the script is.
I'll give you guys the insider scoop, but I'm not gonna
Yeah,
release that information to the public.
yeah, yeah. We'll get the inside scoop. Yeah,
Her knowledge is too powerful.
if I ever need to not watch a weekend, we can just ask your
Yeah,
girlfriend.
yeah.
And,
I'll give you the little inside scoops,
perfect,
Sandy. I got you covered.
perfect. Um, all right, so yeah, I'm saying 1-2, another 1-2 week. That's how I'm feeling it.
I guess technically by my standards, I am terrified, but this may be our first 0-3 week to kind of set us back on schedule for on average going 1-2
Ooh,
every week.
man, please no, anything but
I
fun.
truly hope not. I truly hope that's not the case.
O
But
three,
yeah,
O3 is so depressing. Like they found a way to take an O2 weekend and make it even more painful. You add another game and you lose that one as well. And now you're O3. It's even worse than O2. It's I just thanks LCS. You managed to make weekends potentially even more painful than they already were. So good job on that. One more take from Curly real fast. He wants to see the meta shift back towards the bot lane, and he wants Dreams to play a little more Rel. Okay, I'd be down with some Rel. I like Rel.
I never minded Rel. I thought Rel was always a very fun pick to
I think
watch.
Rel's a good champ. Yeah, let's get Dreams on some Rel. Let's get Dreams on some. Let's get him off
I,
Tom Kench. Let's get him on Leona. Let's.
I think honestly, depending on certain team comps, I think you can fit Rel in this meta even right now. Granted,
Yeah.
it's become a niche pick and not a meta pick, but I think it's pickable depending on what's happening. So I wouldn't mind seeing it,
No, I think that's fair. Um,
especially with all the mobility. Like literally looking at this Golden Guardians game, you've got Rakan, Ezreal, Lee Sin. Like you get a Rel ult on any of those three, that's like real bad for them.
yeah, yeah. It can get rel painful real fast. Um,
Oh my god. Uh,
great. Well, we'll see how this weekend goes. Um, are there any other good matchups? I mean, let's just take a gander around the league real fast. Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. Cloud9 bounced back. They're on a 4-game win streak. 100 Thieves is on a 5-game win streak. We've already talked about just how insanely good this team looks. I'm fully
The
expecting a Cloud9 100 Thieves final in summer. Uh,
I think
absolutely.
the most interesting match that I can see coming up on week 3 is TSM versus Cloud9 on Sunday. That's pretty much the most like interesting one that I can find.
That does seem like a good game. Obviously, 100 Thieves FlyQuest just for the inter podcast rivalries. Um,
I don't know how much of a rivalry we're gonna have, Sandy.
well, look, it is what it is. Man, CLG does not have it much easier.
Oh,
100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, and Dignitas. You would think they could get like one win out of that group, right? You would think.
you would think,
You
you
would
would
hope.
figure.
And then Golden Guardians almost has the exact same matches too. Dig, EG, and TL. So.
Oh, actually, I take that back. TL versus 100 Thieves is also on Sunday. Honestly,
Oh,
Sunday's got some bangers.
yeah, Sunday's got some really important games. Yeah, like TL 100 the CLG Dig one that's kind of boring. EG GG that's kind of boring. But TL 100, TSMC 9, and then us versus Immortals, very very important and good games right there. Um,
All right.
Sunday should be
So I'm
good.
sitting down Sunday. Yeah,
Happy
I'm sitting down Sunday.
yeah, happy Father's Day on that one.
Oh, I just realized I'm not even watching it then. I gotta go to
Yeah,
my
I'm
dad.
probably not watching those games either. I'll be
Come on,
elsewhere.
LCS.
Come on,
You gotta swap
LCS.
those around.
Why you gotta schedule the best games on Father's Day? You know we're good like that. We're not gonna ditch our dads on Father's Day. Uh, did you want to hit Academy real fast?
Yeah, I mean, I can just do a quick highlight. I guess
Yeah, this past week was
great.
it was it.
We we went 1-3,
Yeah, it was rough. We got rolled by C9 and then
1-1 versus
TSM.
what was it? TSM, yeah,
And
which that
that's an
shouldn't have
academy team that you need to be beating.
is. Yeah,
So
they're not a good academy team at all. I
nope.
don't know, which is frustrating too because we lost them in the proving grounds and we were knocked out by them. Like that shouldn't have happened either.
Yeah. Uh, I will say, I am really enjoying the best of two format for Academy. It's
Yes,
so
I
good.
absolutely am too.
It is so freaking good. I almost would love to see LCS do it. It'd be a little tougher, I think, for them to run. Um, but man, I like best of two a lot because a it works for scheduling because you know what time, you know how long it's generally going to run, and then it works for, um, you're not getting. You can have a tie, and then everyone loves ties. Everyone knows that Europeans love ties.
We all know Europe's more superior
We
than
all
NA.
yeah we
Therefore, we
all
should take
know
their format.
exactly. We're just gonna steal their LEC format from like season 8 or something. I forget when they did the best of twos, but I like the
They did
best of
it
twos for
season
Academy.
7 with us when we were doing best of threes.
Yeah. Never again best of threes in North America, please. I can
Let's
only
see. This week though, we have TLA coming up. We
TLA.
have TLA and 100A.
Oh well, I that's gonna be a rough one. I
Oh God, Cole and Jordan are just gonna like crap on us
Yeah,
later.
we're just gonna get absolutely destroyed, dude. I'm just
uh,
like 100 Thieves Academy is so good. 100 Thieves just as an org is absolutely stomping
they're
kids
smurfing right now. The
in
only thing
League
they're
of
not
Legends.
smurfing in anymore is the actual amateur scene. Their 100 X is kind
Yeah.
of slacking, but I mean, you can't have perfect seasons all the time in all three
Well, and
branches
then
of league.
I was gonna make a joke about their Valorant team, but FlyQuest doesn't even have a Valorant team, so I can't really even say anything.
Yeah, I mean, we can pick fights with other orgs that aren't what we're participating in, right?
Yeah,
Like we have
exactly.
no stake in this game.
We're allowed to do that. Yeah. All right. Well, that's Academy. I don't know how much else there is
Go
to
cheer the
say.
boys on.
Yeah, go cheer
If
the
I'm being
boys on.
honest, we can beat TLA.
Okay.
They're good, but we can beat them. We are a good academy team.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that actually.
100 Thieves Academy is honestly probably the same level as Cloud9 Academy, in which case that's going to be a rough matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if we go 0-2 there.
Yeah,
I'm
if we
hoping to go
take one
1-1 though.
game off, I'd be happy with that.
So, yeah, those are pretty much my goals. I think
Cool.
we can go 2-0 against Team Liquid. I mean, minimum expecting 1-1. I think we can go 2-0, and then 100 Thieves Academy, I'm hoping for a 1-1. Wouldn't be surprised with an 0-2.
Okay, cool.
Is there
Any
anything
other
else, Sandy?
yeah, any other topics that you want to hit real fast?
No, not
Anything?
unless you want to roast me real quick.
Yeah, so let me just say, let me pull up this result. In fantasy LCS this weekend, Nox War and I went up against each other. Final score: Hype Quest, managed by Nox War, 340 points, 0.38. 340.38. And then Sandy Quest, managed by Sandy Toes, 364.08 points. And, you know, sometimes you just got to do it to him. You got to take the dub. You got to.
So
You got
sometimes
to
you gotta
ban.
regret not banning the freaking Rumble against Closer when
Well,
he plays
you
it 3 times in 1 week.
you banned Danny's Ezreal, and that was a good ban.
Which was honestly the main thing that even kept it close for me, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest, with my players.
yeah, and then I did ban the Silas, which was a good one, and then Palafox underperformed this week because he had like a negative 2.5 point game versus Cloud9. Santorin popped off for you though. Woof.
He did, which
That
is a part of the
man,
reason why I was hyping him up earlier and why I truly think he's the number one jungler in LCS right now,
that
even over
man
Blabber.
went crazy. Um, I was actually having a thought about fantasy LCS, and like I think the next one, if there's one like next spring, I think it'd be more fun to do one where it's like 6 players, like 6 or 8, rather than a full
That
10.
way we can get all the quality players instead of literally maxing out
Well,
the league.
also, like you've got all the quality players, but then you get to play around with like the waiver wire and free agents and stuff.
Yeah,
So
no,
like,
see, that'd be fun too.
so then it's like, oh, okay, so I have Insanity as my mid, but he's playing 100 Thieves, TL, and Cloud9 all in one weekend. Oh, but Palafox is a free agent, and he's playing Golden Guardians, Evil Geniuses, and Dignitas. I wonder what player might potentially score more points this week. And then you just, pick up Palafox and do better. So there's a little bit more strategy to it.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
Totally.
for
I would
sure.
love to actually kind of do a reduced league instead of 10 players.
For sure. Well, maybe we'll have to explore that. For now, remember, folks, go fill out your FlyQuest pick'ems in the FlyQuest Discord, run by the pick'ems commissioner Noxwar himself. There's a grand prize of a summer split jersey on the table for that, which might end up getting worn by Knox's girlfriend. It remains to
At
be.
this rate, yeah.
At this rate, it's definitely not getting won by me. I think I'm like, I don't know what I am. I'm under 500 winning percentage right now.
You, sir, are no. You're 500 on the dot.
Oh, the comeback
You,
is
you
real.
went
I
you
went
went 5-10 and then 10-5.
uh, the comeback. It's comebackable. It starts right now. Here we go. Comebackable for sure. You can follow the Flight Check Twitter at Flight Check Crew. We also will post this show on YouTube, on our channel, Flight Check Crew. We don't have a vanity URL yet, but we'd like to get one someday. So
We'll talk shortly about that
yeah,
at
so
some point.
help us blow up, help us go viral, and we can maybe get some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, need 3 followers for affiliate, by the way.
Yeah, we just need 3 followers for affiliate. So smack that follow button. We do this show live every Monday night, or almost every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The show also is rewatchable on various platforms, re-listenable on various platforms. You can follow myself at SantosDB on Twitter. You can follow Nox at Noxwar, Noxwarr. You can follow Curly. He's totally okay, folks. Don't worry. He's just working tonight. And You can follow him at curly underscore QQ underscore. Remember always to hashtag showcase greatness. Thanks for watching the show. We will be back next week with a full 3-man setup. And yeah, I don't have any quick shout outs or plugs, Knox.
If y'all want to go celebrate with 100 Thieves because of their team, they're going to be doing 100 Talk Pod here in about an hour.
An hour.
So go do that. Outside of that, I know I was a very negative Nancy on the show tonight, but seriously,
And
go
so
show
was
our
I.
players some love. Go give Liquor some love. Jose Diota, Pala, Johnson, Dreams. Go show them some love on Twitter. I know they don't tweet that often, but they do actually read their Twitters. So
When they do
yeah,
tweet, hop into their mentions, tell them how much you love them, and that you're going to give them a nice big hug when you can. It'll warm their hearts. So,
uh,
well,
outside
some
of that, that's yeah.
outside of that, someday we will all get together and have a nice big group hug. All three of us. We'll meet up at LCS
Would,
someday.
would be sick. I would
That would
love
be
that.
that would be a great day. For now, this has been season 1, episode 13 of Flight Check. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there and enjoy yourself some professional League of Legends. See you guys.
Have a good one, guys. And in honor of Curly, peace, y'all.